No way he just said this. We have multiple shocking reports and quotes from head coach of the New England Patriots, Mike Vrabel, speaking on now starting quarterback of the Denver Broncos, Jarrett Stidham, who this head coach has experience working with and has sought him out as a free agent in the past. We have shocking reports and shocking quotes to break down on this prep week for the AFC Championship. We also have a very notable injury update that could boost the Broncos in a very strong manner at the end of the video. So make sure you stick around to hear that crazy injury update all the way at the tail end of the video. Welcome into Broncos Digest, everybody. Mark Robinson here. Thank you guys so much for joining. Thank you for your support and all of the love that you're giving us on this channel. We appreciate it very much. If you're not subscribed yet, it takes 5 seconds to get out of the video, click that subscribe button and come back. And it's also completely free. So if you're leaving a like, leaving a comment, and you're supporting this channel, make sure that you also hit that subscribe button. And if you don't want to do it for me, do it for this reason right here. This is our competitor for the week. It's Patriots hate week, so to say. And look how far ahead they are. Are we really going to let the Patriots beat us by this much in this realm? Patriots Digest, our competitor, the other channel that is covering the enemy this week, all the way at 6,700 subscribers. Guys, we cannot let them stay that far ahead of us. So if you want to try to catch up to Patriots Digest and make the gap a little bit closer, go hit the subscribe button. Join the fastest growing source for Denver Broncos news and updates. Hope you guys are loving all the content this week. Like I've said already, we are pumping out a ton of AFC Championship week content for you this week. We got some special guests coming up on the show. We got some Denver Broncos local people in the media who are very well versed in the team that'll be coming on the show. Very excited for that. And tomorrow we'll be doing a collab with Patriots Digest. We'll have Jace Andrews, the host of Patriots Digest, here on Broncos Digest to preview the matchup and talk about some things from the Patriots' perspective. Somebody that's a little more well-versed in New England Patriot football. All right, let's dive into some of these reports. First, starting off with a crazy quote from Mike Vrabel in a press conference for the Patriots recently. He said that he spoke with Jarrett Stidham's agent in free agency, and the agent's message was, if you don't want your starting quarterback to get hurt, you should sign Jarrett. And then Mike Vrabel also said, I think he sees things really well. This is obviously a crazy quote. People are interpreting this in a lot of different ways. Some people are saying that because I will start by saying it's kind of a confusing quote. It could be interpreted in a few different ways. And I think a lot of people are definitely taking it in two different directions. But a lot of things that people are thinking is that this agent of Jarrett Stidham's has zero faith in him and has no belief that he's a strong quarterback, and that he's basically saying, if you don't want your starting quarterback to get hurt, if you always want your starting quarterback to be in, you should sign Jarrett, because then you'll never have to play him, and you don't want to have to play him because he's a bad quarterback, which is weird. It doesn't really make sense to me why that would be the way his agent is portraying him. Like, if you're somebody's agent, there's really no point in dogging on him to that degree. But that is obviously the way that some people are interpreting it. They're saying that his agent is saying, if you don't want your starting quarterback to get hurt, you should sign Jarrett, because if that happens, you're going to have to play Jarrett Stidham, which would not be good. But the other way that people are interpreting it is people are saying Jarrett's a starter as well, and that Jarrett Stidham is a starting caliber quarterback. And because of that, if the starting QB gets hurt, he is another starter, basically. It's a strange way to say it if that's the case, but nevertheless, it's a crazy quote. It's also crazy for Mike Vrabel to come out and say, I think he sees things really well. He spoke on the confidence and the ability of Jarrett Stidham, which I think is, that says a lot as you prepare to play this team in the AFC Championship this coming weekend. And then another crazy quote from Mike Vrabel, head coach of the New England Patriots, on the Greg Hill Show, shares that the Patriots did a lot of work on Jarrett Stidham as a free agent target in the offseason. Stidham was among those considered for the QB2 role that ultimately landed on Joshua Dobbs. Vrabel notes that McDaniels coached Stidham in 2019-21. Josh McDaniels, the OC for for the New England Patriots, which we are going to dive a little bit more into detail on how that will have direct implications to the way that the Patriots are able to confidently approach their defensive approach and how much they can rely on Josh McDaniels to help in terms of giving them tips for covering the type of a quarterback that he's already familiar with. We're going to talk about all that after a quick message from these sponsors. Before we get into all of today's Denver Broncos news, I want to remind you that this video is brought to you by Kalshi. Kalshi is the largest prediction market that is currently live in the United States, and on their platform, you can trade yes or no on real-life events, sports, elections, and really any event you can think of. If you're in California, Texas, or Colorado, or anywhere across the country, Kalshi is currently live in all 50 states. For sports fans, you can trade on game outcomes, playoff chances, or player performances, all on a regulated market where you can cash out anytime. And for Broncos fans, you can trade on something like the Super Bowl odds. The Broncos are currently the third favorite team to win the Super Bowl, and you can trade on the Broncos taking home the Lombardi Trophy and making it all the way to Super Bowl 60 after they just recently clinched the number 1 seed in the AFC. This, along with so many more football props or any props you can think of in sports, as well as any other big events going on in the world, you can trade all of it on Kalshi. It's a smarter way to use your sports or news knowledge, and you can close positions whenever you want. So download Kalshi with the link in the description and use code DIGESTNFL to get $20 when you trade $100 on Kalshi. Thanks to Kalshi for those quick messages, guys. If you haven't yet, go to Kalshi.com and you can trade on anything going on in the world of sports, whether it's the Broncos, whether it's anything going on in football. Now that we're down to the AFC and the NFC championships, you can trade on the winners of those games. You can trade on who makes it to the Super Bowl and who wins the Super Bowl. You can trade on who wins the NFL MVP. If you're more than just a football fan, if you're a basketball, hockey, baseball fan, all that stuff, you could already trade on baseball props for the upcoming season or anything going on in the NBA or NHL seasons right now. And it's even more than sports. You can trade on any political events or any social events going on in the world. Kalshi has it all. It's the largest trading market in the United States of America. Go use your sports and news knowledge to your advantage and make some money by trading at Kalshi. And while you're doing so, make sure you use code DIGESTNFL to get some money back in your pocket when you trade with Kalshi. All right, let's talk about Josh McDaniels. Pat's offensive coordinator knows Broncos QB Jarrett Stidham, has worked with him in the past, has coached him in the past. How much will that matter? I think it's worth noting that these two have worked very closely together in the past because that gives the Patriots a leg up in the sense that the offensive coordinator that's worked with him in the past understands how he plays quarterback, understands the system that he plays in. But on the contrary to that, Jarrett Stidham also might be able to offer insight on the offensive side of the Patriots and any remembrance of the approach Josh McDaniels have. And with all that in mind, it's been a long time since the two of them were working together. And it's also worth noting, one of Sean Payton's first moves as head coach of the Denver Broncos was signing Jarrett Stidham. So he knows Jarrett Stidham, and he knows that he's a strong quarterback and that there's confidence around him. And so I think that is definitely worth noting as well when you think about this interesting relationship that we have going on. And then some quotes circling around the Denver Broncos locker room that I think gives a lot of promise looking ahead of this game. Everybody has the utmost confidence in Jarrett. Broncos express belief in QB Jarrett Stidham and battle-tested team's ability to respond. I'm going to read this little blurb from this article from the Denver Broncos right here. As tackle Mike McGlinchey and defensive lineman Zach Allen began to look ahead to their AFC Championship Game matchup against the New England Patriots, they didn't downplay the loss of Bo Nix. I wouldn't say it's just another test, said Mike McGlinchey. You don't ever say that about guys getting hurt, especially when it's the leader and the quarterback of your team. Obviously, there's a little more of a nuance to that. But while McGlinchey said Nix's season-ending injury is incredibly heartbreaking, he and Allen also expressed their full belief in quarterback Jarrett Stidham's ability to lead the team in Nix's place. Now, something like this for me, from my perspective, it's a double-edged sword. Obviously, nobody on a football team that has this much media attention is going to come out and say, oh, I have no belief in my backup quarterback. He's going to sell. We're going to lose. Obviously, none of these guys are going to come out and say, oh, yeah, we're screwed. Jarrett Stidham sucks. I don't believe in him at all. We're going to lose the game. Patriots are going to the Super Bowl. Book it right now. But at the same time, players wouldn't go out of their way to express a lot of confidence regarding this situation. And so that gives me a lot of promise when you start to think about, what we're going to see from Jarrett Stidham in this coming weekend. And speaking of what we're going to see from Jarrett Stidham and the Broncos in general, I mentioned it earlier, we have a pretty big injury update regarding a key piece to the Denver Broncos, and that is how we're going to end things today. Per Zach Stevens from DNVR, Luke Wattenberg is eligible, to return off injured reserve this week and play in the AFC Championship. When he was originally placed on IR, Sean Payton indicated his timetable to return would be right around the 4-week IR mark, and that is right now. So there's a chance that we see Luke Wattenberg back out on the field playing for the Denver Broncos. That would be huge to have him back out in the lineup. He's obviously a big piece to the Broncos' success and what they've been able to do so far this season. So if that injury can be off IR and if he can be back playing, that would be massive for the Broncos. Thanks so much for tuning in to Broncos Digest, everybody. Guys, let's get as close to Patriots Digest as we can. We can't let them win. We can't let them be this far ahead. It's unacceptable. We have got to fix it as best we can. Make sure you're staying tuned to everything that we're doing here at Broncos Digest. Like I said, we got some exciting guests coming up this week. Some pretty big names in the Denver sports scene, if you ask me. If you're a Denver sports fan and if you're a Broncos fan, I almost guarantee you're going to know some of these people. So you're going to want to be here when we have these guests on. It's very exciting, and we can't wait. But in the meantime, subscribe, join the fastest growing source for Denver Broncos news, and we will talk to you guys soon. Cheers.